15th of March, we didn't know what is going to work. We were already 2.5 months into that first quarter, and we had already put all of these bets out that this is what directionally we should do, this is what the new channels should look like, but we didn't have anything that was showing on the pipeline. Sales was feeling it. I could hear that, hey, we have some good things in pipe, we have a lot of conversations happening. I didn't see it on my CRM yet. It was very, very difficult place. And that's not how it used to be, let's say, 1 year back. I could tell that, okay, Google Ads is increasing, okay, LinkedIn is increasing, whatever, right? But this dichotomy, impressions are increasing, clicks are not. I don't know the pipeline yet. I think it's a very, very difficult place to be in for any marketer. But just 2 weeks from then, if you ask somebody, webinars is a channel for lead gen, it's a very debatable topic, right? Very, very difficult to crack. If you tell somebody events for lead gen, for pipe gen, not something that's very intuitive. Doesn't apply for everybody, right? So there were a lot of open bets. But the very interesting thing happened was, from there on week for the next 10 weeks, it continued, that momentum. The new SEO niche looks like. These are new keywords that are coming up. Very, very small in volume, very, very high in impact. So identifying those, tying it back to the pain points, going back to the drawing board, understanding those pain points again, right? Coming up with that messaging and fine tuning, making sure that all the channels that we have, we double down on. So we're looking at double down on events, double down on socials, founder socials, co-founder socials, CS socials, double down on partnerships, double down on.
Yeah, based on all this, right? Like for a founder who is in the 0 to 1 million journey, right? What will be your recommendation be in terms of how they should think of marketing their team and building this?
Cool. So I've worked on 3 setups in 0 to 1. All of them were different. So first thing that you have to figure is, what is your target market? Is it India? Is it US? It can't be both. So when you are on your 0 to 1, you have to be very, very clear about what is your product market fit. Right? So okay, I have an offering that somebody likes. Is it scalable? Like, if it is scalable, how big is that segment? Is it big enough for you to scale? Like, is it just 15 companies that you can go after? And if those 15 don't convert, then you don't really have a PMF. So then you'll have to kind of double click. How can I expand? So you'll have to ask a lot of difficult questions. Are you enterprise? Are you SMB? Are you mid-market? Because what happens is, when you start off, you see a lot of initial traction that would come from friends and family, because you could be somebody who's been in this space for so long, people know you, people revere you for your expertise, and so they will start trusting or trying your tool out, right? But what are those first 2-3 wins that you get outside of that friends and family is the real PMF, right? So I think that's a good indicator that, okay, this is what my product really, this is where it makes sense. This is the real problems that it is solving. And so identify this as the ICP. How scalable it is, how big is that market, right? Figure whether you're a want product or a need product for that ICP, right? So if you are, for example, with 100 MS, it was even though we believed it is a need product, it was really a build versus buy for us, right? So for example, a lot of companies were building it in-house. They were using some of the open source options that were available, right? So then it was not really a need. We were very good at tech. So we had a much stronger solution, but would it scale? Because it's an infra level of product, right? So how do you sell? How do you convince? Is that market big enough? So maybe look at, are there enough? One very good way to say is, if there are 2-3 very good players in it, it's a good market to be in, right? It's bigger players. I think it's generally a good news, because you don't have to start with, you have a problem. You can start with, I know you have a problem, here's a solution. So identify that starting point. I think that is very, very important. And so all of this comes before marketing. So either you work with like a horizontal marketer, a seasoned person who can help you work out your strategy, or recommended as you do it yourself. Speak to more founders, be more aware, be more present with your customers, because you are building the product, right? And marketing never wins alone. So if you don't have your product correctly positioned for winning, it might be a very uphill task for any marketer to help you scale. So I think that's one.
This need and want, right? In case, will the marketing differ? The approach will differ based on whether it is need or want, or is it more an input to the product team,
When so for example, my operator was into cloud telephony and we were selling to India SMB. We knew it was a need, but really it was a want. Because we're like, okay, everybody should have an IVR. It's like everybody should wear slippers. So, but you don't know it till you don't know it. It's very easy to dipstick such dichotomies. Like for example, when we went ahead and launched that format in which people could experience the idea themselves in the first 30 seconds of saying, okay, maybe I want to try the product, and their response to it, this looks good, this is what I want to be, right? So it was really a want product, but I could create that wow. It was a very small ticket size, right? So they didn't have to think too much about it. Right? Okay, for my product, I can easily get this. Let me just get this, right? So you're like, okay, maybe I am a want product, but I can still generate demand because I can wow people with what value I'm adding, and that's they'll want to have, right? So okay, then marketing becomes about creating that aspirational image, right? So that's how you will market your product. So how you position will depend upon whether it's a want or a need. So for example, my current product, Recruiterflow, it's a CRM. CRM is a need. Everybody will be using some CRM ATS. If you are a recruiting agency, you will have a CRM or an ATS because everybody needs a single source of truth. They can't keep working on Excel. As people increase the number of Excels, managing is very difficult. So it's a need. So our sell then starts from the pain points. I don't have to sell that aspiration. Now it's changing, of course, because what a CRM should develop. And so this also evolves, right? So from we were in need initially, but now with AI coming into play, our product incorporating AI, it has become a want. And hopefully, eventually, we will see how it matures, how agents mature, how important they end up becoming, and maybe it will turn into a need. So that we will see. But our current transition is from a need to a want. And so the first marketers or companies to understand that will win the battle. So it can keep evolving. But for a 0 to 1, I think it's very, very important to stay close to the ground, keep your ear right there and just know what's happening on the ground.
Yeah, got it. So whether the product is India, US, you have the PMF, and is it scalable? Which are you targeting, SMEs or mid-segment, mid-market, or enterprise? Then whether it is a need or want, and keeping very grounded and close to the customers, and what will be the other aspect?
So once you have that figured, now you can move to your positioning, messaging, and channels. Okay, I am a want product today because AI has become aspiration and nobody wants to miss out. So okay, nobody wants to miss out on this wave. Nobody wants to work with somebody who doesn't understand technology enough. So can I position myself as the company who knows technology enough? So that's how you'll come up with your positioning. That's how you'll break it down into the messaging for each launch, each campaign. From there, I think you come up with your messaging, positioning, and then you come up with the positioning first, messaging second, and then the channels. So channels, for example, okay, sure, people are searching. So there's search, but they're also doing a lot of these meetups. Am I there? Maybe they are visiting a lot of hackathons. I don't know, I'm just making it up, okay? So true for somebody, not true for the other. So you have to figure out where your customer is and kind of make sure that you take your message there. But start with the PMF, identify that audience. Once you have the ICP, want or need, go to, this is the positioning, and hence the messaging. And these are the channels, the distribution. Once you've figured that, I think then you come to the team. Because now you know, okay, these are the channels. These are the strengths that I need. Then you say, okay, this is the growth that I want. These are my hypotheses. This is those hypotheses, you come with your OKRs for the team, right? Okay, this is the team that we will need. These are the kind of things they will have to own for us to reach from, let's say, 100K a month to 1 million by end of this year. So this is what it will take. When you want to reach a 1 million, you have to plan for 2.5 because most of those plans will fail. So, okay, next 18 months, I'll reach from, let's say, 500K to 2.5K. 5x in 18 months. If I had to do it, this is what it'll take. That you will only have once you have like a strong sense. So have a strong sense on PMF, have a good hold on the positioning, make sure that the messaging flows from there and your channels align, and then you hire for those strengths. Okay, this is what I need to grow. Then you align your OKRs, right? Then it can talk pipe. Right? So that's how you can break it down and think more logically about growth. Then pipeline, budgets, all of it kind of comes into play.
Can you, from Recruiterflow's perspective, right? Can you give an example of the positioning and the messaging?
So we are a AI first RecOps platform. We are in a space which is a need place. That means everybody will have an ATS or CRM. We are also a difficult to differentiate product because if you look at even in marketing, if you look at the CRMs that we have, functionality almost everybody will be able to deliver. So it just comes down to the experience. That can the product solve for the UX? Can the support solve for the user needs? So then that becomes your primary thing. Can the product solve for evolving needs? So those become like the levers that you get from the team that you're working with. So as a marketer, make sure that you have that support when you're choosing your job. Maybe see that the team that you're going to work with understands that nuance. And then I think you have to come back to, okay, I have all of this. My positioning is AI first, RecOps platform. How do I align the product launches? This is my product roadmap. How does it tie back into the same positioning? Or does it tie back? You don't have to force tie, but does it tie back into it? Is it speaking to the same audience, or am I solving for different audiences? Like, do I start for solving SMBs all of a sudden from doing mid-market? Or do I suddenly move enterprise? Be very aware of that change. As a marketer, where, okay, you have a positioning, but does each of that messaging that I'm going to come up with tie into the same audience every time? And if it doesn't, it's your responsibility to go back to the team and let them know. And then the team can take a call altogether, but it just helps you build better perspective, because that will define the output of your campaigns. So we came up with, AI first RecOps platform, and then how are we AI first, right? So the product was aligned before the positioning. That product said, okay, I am going to go AI first. I am going to solve all the problems that people are coming with and see if I can solve it scalably. Because the objective is not to bring in AI, but the objective is to solve more problems that are tangible. So let's find tangible solutions. So we went into their workflows. We figured, okay, these are the biggest 3 gaps. We added that to the product. All of them have either an AI or an automation angle to it. So there's some agentic angle. It's not always the same. But all of it ties back to, there's a RecOps platform that I'm building. So it'll make my platform better, or it'll be an AI first. So I can tie it back, right? So we recently launched job change alerts, which is basically if somebody's changing jobs, you are the first to know. Because when you are in the recruitment, so our audience is recruiting agencies. For an agency, that job change is critical, because if somebody from my existing customers team goes to a new company, right, that's my lead, that's my business development. And if I'm the first one to know, I can build that relationship. Everybody who's with me, how do I keep them nurtured? So do I have those automations in place? So that became like a part of that story, that, okay, your growth, your revenue growth is something that we tie our product development with. Right? So standalone, it doesn't make sense. In the overall scheme of things, it makes sense. That they are helping us do our BD better. So that's the story that will sell. And then figuring the channels. So as I said, this is a very community-driven market. Right. So the same channels, I think channels we've kind of figured already. And so we figured the positioning and the messaging. And with each launch, it kind of ties back to the same AI first RecOps.
A couple of examples on this messaging here. So AI first RecOps platform, that's the positioning. And can you give a couple of examples on the messaging?
So, for example, I mentioned job change alerts, right? So one of the things that we say is, you didn't lose a deal, you lost track of that person. So it's not, you're missing on relationships. Can we bring in an emotional angle or like a FOMO angle to it? That, okay, it's not just the deal. It's not just that data point in your database. It's that relationship that you had with that data. So for example, there's this campaign that we run, which is about keeping your data updated. And so nobody likes a stale app, right? So it's similar with data. It's of no use. So the only way it is useful is if you have it updated. So then all of those angles of, okay, what is the product marketing strategy that I take? So, okay, how do I create more need? How do I create more urgency? How do I create that FOMO? How do I convert them? And so you kind of do that messaging for each of them, for each of those launches, and have like a bunch of things, test them out. But ultimately, all of it ties back to being AI first.
Got it.